साथियों, this is Mission JRF English June 2023 series, also called as Gehen Abhyasi series. So we are actually presenting this series, and we are actually trying to intensify our process for all the learners to qualify JRF English all over India, wherever you are. If you are listening to this YouTube channel, please do like, share, and subscribe our channel Knowledge Junction 2.0. This is my introduction, guys. This is Saurabh here. Recently managed to qualify GATE All India rank 38. I'm JRF English, also 9 times NET English, 3 times SLET, author, assistant professor, UKPSC qualified commissioned assistant professor. So guys, you can see here that this is our number. If you want to get my live classes, please do call on this number. So, and this lecture we are going to look at NTA NET English Unit 9 Literary Theory Post World War II, and we are going to look at the important questions with explanations from West Bengal SLET. So guys, let's get into action without further delay. Now, before I move into the typed section from West Bengal SLET 2023 Unit 9, you can see here, guys, that this is our NET English official syllabus, and this is Unit 9, which we are going to discuss. Here, Unit 8 and 9 are very critical for our success in NET, especially if you want to qualify JRF English. You need to be very precise with these two units. And after qualifying NET 9 times and 3 states and various exams like GATE, I can very well definitely say that Unit 9 is going to be the most important unit if you want to really crank it up and want to give a serious attempt for JRF English. So guys, I managed to qualify my JRF when I was doing my, I think I qualified my JRF in 4th or 5th attempt. So it was all self-study and a painstaking effort, and but at the same time I learned a lot. And I think that Unit 9 is my specialization by the grace of God, by the grace of Almighty. Let's dive straight into the questions which we have specially typed for you all. These are the questions with their serial number as it is given in the question paper. So if you look at the question paper, this is question number 16, and a very important question, guys, where he's saying that postmodernism, which emerged in the 1990s, signals a return to. So guys, the answer to this very important question is the culture of affect of the age of sensibility. Now this actually postmodernism can be asked in our NET exam. And what does it mean? It means intensification of postmodern capitalism. Okay, very important point, intensification of postmodern capitalism. Now, this term gained currency through the work of the cultural logic of just-in-time capitalism. Please pay attention to the title, Just-in-Time Capitalism. And this is written by the American postmodern thinker. His name was Jeffrey T. Nelon, Nealon, right? So he came up with this very important work, guys. And this work actually, in a way, hints at the return to the age of sensibility or age of enlightenment. If you want to look at a postmodernism, we know that they critiqued the age of sensibility, but here we see the culture of effect of the age of sensibility. So in a way, postmodernism is all about returning to the age of sensibility, and the term gained currency after this work by Jeffrey T. Nelon. Okay, now let's look at question number 2 as who among the following is not a structural narratologist? Now, if you look at this question, it's a tricky question because they have asked the two terms, structural as well as narratologist. So it was a tricky question, guys, and the answer to this question is Louis Althusser. Yes, guys, we are talking about the French structuralist Marxist. He is a structuralist Marxist. Louis Althusser is known for terms like state apparatus, ideology, and ideological state apparatus. Okay, ideology and ideological state apparatus. You will get the detailed explanation of all these technical terms in my separate lecture on these writers. But what I'm trying to say here is that these are the key terms that he gave, and he was a structuralist, Marxist, and all the three writers are essentially the narratologist as well. So Roland Barthes, A.G. Grimes, and Zvetan Todorov. Okay. So if you look at Roland Barthes, we know he is a structuralist as well as a post-structuralist writer known for his iconic essay Death of the Author, which is known as a hinge between structuralism and post-structuralism. So Roland Barthes is also known for creating writerly and readerly text. You can go for the definition of these text in detail. So A.J. Grimes is actually a French, you can say, semiotician. Okay, he is a French semiotician, and he is known for Grimes square theory. Okay, and we have got the last one here, Todorov. Now, Todorov is actually a writer known for his work called as Equilibrium and Disruption and Equilibrium. Equilibrium, Disruption, and Equilibrium. Okay, so this is the work that he wrote, and he is also known for his very famous quote, language is assemblage of structures of signification. Very important quote by Todorov. Okay, so again, if you look, he is talking about language as a symbol, talking about language as a semiotic approach, and he gave this quote in this very important work called as Structural Analysis of Narrative. Important work by Todorov, Structural Analysis of Narrative, in the year 1969, where he analyzed the very famous Italian writer Boccaccio. Yes, guys, Boccaccio, the same writer who influenced Chaucer in the 14th century. And we know Boccaccio is known for his iconic work, Decameron, Boccaccio's Decameron. So this work, that is Structural Analysis of Narrative, was based on Boccaccio's Decameron. Okay, very important question. Let's look at question number 20, guys. Again, a very important question. The shock of arrival contains reflections on. So this is the name of a book. You can put it in italics and you can put it in inverted comma. And this is reflections on post-colonial experience by, of course, Mina Alexander. Okay, Mina Alexander, we know, guys, comes from diasporic community. From he was basically a Christian, Catholic Christian, but he was basically from Kerala, but he was born in Allahabad, and we see that eventually he settled in America, and there her works got recognition. He is known for a very important work which got the Penn Award for Poetry, and the name of the work was Illiterate Heart, which she published in the year 2002, right? So Mina Alexander, do remember her for her contributions to post-colonialism and as well as diasporic Indian literature. Okay, so let's move on to question number 23, guys, where it's a very interesting question. I think the term cyber coolie, who coined the term cyber coolie to denote call center workers in India, claiming that they are exploited by Western multinational as plantation workers from Bihar were exploited in West Indies by their colonial masters. So it's a beautiful analogy that the writer is giving here, and it's given by Harish Trivedi. Harish Trivedi is actually a professor in from Delhi, and in my explanation, combined explanation in my previous video, I have already given a little bit about him. Please do remember this term cyber coolie as a very important, you can say, post-colonial expression where he's talking about the exploitation of a different kind. Okay, let's move on to question number 27. Again, a very interesting question. In which text on popular culture does Michael Thompson state that ideally an object should reach zero value and zero expected lifespan, but in reality, it continues to live in a timeless and valueless limbo? Okay, a very, very interesting question indeed. And I came to know about this question when I studied a bit deeper, I came to know about the importance of rubbish theory. Okay, very interesting theory, rubbish theory. Rubbish theory proposes that, it came out in the year 1979, basically proposes that anything which is in junk, anything which is supposedly called as rubbish, say for example, the things which are of no use at our house, usually tend to we tend to think that they lose their value over time, but he proposes that over time they actually continue to live in a timeless and valueless limbo. That means they continue to gain currency with the passage of time. We think them as rubbish, but in fact it becomes archaic and it becomes more rare and vintage kind of stuff. So very different kind of proposition that he gives. And in this classical text on culture studies, I can say that this work is related to culture studies, and the foreword was given by Joshua O. Reno. Very important work. Joshua O. Reno gave the, you can say, foreword of this very important work, Rubbish Theory by Michael Thompson. Okay, let's move on to next question, guys. Again, a very interesting question and a very important question. I think it's a question which must be attempted by all of us, and we must be able to attempt it very easily. The answer is A. That means affective fallacy, of course, is a term by new criticism. In new criticism, aporia is, of course, a famous term. In post-structuralism, we know that it's a term given by Derrida, which means aporia basically means a textual knot, a place of undecidability in text, a place of, you can say, dead end, a place where the text becomes complicated. It did not give its own, you can say, meaning. So the third entry here is interesting one, guys. Comprador. Now, comprador basically means a term from post-colonialism. It's a Portuguese word, and it refers to the trading class, especially the agents of exploitation in trading class. Agents of exploitation in trading class, and the work is given by Ashok Mitra. The work gained currency in India through Ashok Mitra's work. Focalization, of course, refers to narratology, and focalization in narratology, we know there are many writers who have given this currency to narratology. One remembers Robert Scholl's contribution, and the different focalization is point of view through which the story is told. Affective fallacy, guys, is a very important term, affective fallacy. And in this term, we know that what is fallacy? Fallacy is error. And what is affective fallacy? Please pay attention. Is when it is done from the critic's point of view. When a critic, just I am drawing a quick diagram here. For example, this is a critic, this is a text, and this is the reader. Okay, when a critic, please pay attention, when a critic, instead of not going directly to the text, when a critic tries to understand the text through the influences of the reader, that means he is doing a fallacy. He is actually leading to an error because he is affected by the outer influences of the reader. So that is precisely affective fallacy. The term was given by Wimsett and Birdsley, right? Wimsett and Birdsley in the year 1949. Okay, and the term is often studied with another term called as intentional fallacy. Intentional fallacy is again a fallacy done by the critic. Please pay attention. When a critic, instead of going directly to the text, does not go to the text, but tries to understand the intentions of the author. When a critic tries to understand the intentions of the author, then again he is trying to do an error, or he does an error, and that is called as intentional fallacy. So basically, the basic premise of new criticism is maintained, which says that anything which goes out of the text is not actually a criticism. So basically, this is about this. Aporia is textual knot. I have already discussed. Let's move on to next question, guys. The term drabble. Now, the term drabble is a very interesting one, guys. I have got this term drabble for you, and this is what drabble is all about. Drabble is actually a short work of fiction. Okay, precisely 100 words in length. The purpose of drabble is brevity, testing the author's ability to express interesting and meaningful ideas in a confined state space. The concept is originated in UK science fandom in the 1980s. The 100-word format was established by Birmingham University SF Society, taking a term. Now, please, this is important. Monty Python's book 1971, Big Red Book. In the book, Drabble was described as a word game where the first participant to write a novel was the winner. So it was agreed that 100 words would suffice. And French writer Félix Fénelon may be considered as a precursor with his Novelas and Trois Lignes, 3 lines short stories inspired by new items. Okay, so this was a little bit about Drabbles. Drabble. You will see the drabble means actually the flash fiction. That means a very short type of fiction. Okay. Now, next question is question 41. The book The Prison House of Language, a critical account of structuralism and Russian formalism, is written by, this is again a very important question, by Frederick Jameson. The book came out in the year 1972. Frederick Jameson, guys, is an American who is known for his Marxist approach, and it's quite rare to find a Marxist thinker in America. So Frederick Jameson is one of the very rare kind of critic who comes from America and who supports Marxist philosophy. Okay, so that's very important. Moving on, next question is, which literary theorist is not associated with post-structuralism? Now, it's a no-brainer, guys, because simply that we know that all the writers like Kristiva, Lacka, and Paul Deman, they come from you can say a post-structuralist background. They are mainly from deconstruction or the followers of deconstruction. So we can directly write here that Ferdinand de Saussure is the answer because he comes from structuralist background. We know he's one of the founding pillars of structuralism. So that is there. Now moving on. Next question is, who wrote the book The Structural Poetics? Now, guys, if you are taking my lectures, you will see that in my lecture on structuralism, I came out with this very important writer, Jonathan Culler, who gave us his viewpoints on structuralist poetics. So Jonathan Culler is the answer. It's directly question asked from structuralism. And next question is, how many long action does Vladimir Prop outlined as essential to the functions of a folktale? Now, this is a very important question, 31. Now, he's asking about long actions. He's not asking about functions as such. Function is a critical term in Vladimir Prop's, you can say, morphology of a folktale, which is 35. So it's a difficult question in that sense. So he's asking about, in West Bengal said, you need to read questions very carefully. So they have mixed and matched, and it's a very good paper. So, guys, you can say that Vladimir Prop is known for his works on in Russian formalism. Okay, and he is also a thinker from you can in from narratology. So, in a way, his work kind of informs and interrogates both the disciplines. So, he's a Russian thinker. Okay, so a great thinker on Russian folk tales. Okay, which of the critic is known for his work on reader response? This is again a very interesting question. Now the answer to this question is Wolfgang Iser. Yes, guys, Wolfgang Iser is known for his works on reader response theory. Now, reader response theory believes that there is no single reading as a final reading. So it's a very interesting theory. Now, Northrop Frye is known for, you can say, psychoanalysis. He's a Canadian critic. Louis Althusser, we know, is known for Marxist structuralist approach. And Clint Brooks is a new critic. So Wolfgang Iser is the answer. Now, moving on, question number 87. Which genre does Audre Lorde text, you can say, Zaming, very important text, a new spelling of my name establishes. So I think very, very important question. The answer to this very interesting question is biomythography. Now, biomythography actually is a mixture of three works. It's a kind of fictional autobiography. It mixes biography, mythology, and history together. Okay. And this is actually a work which was published in the year 1982. And Zami is actually an African Caribbean classic work. It's a lesbian work, Afri-Caribbean classic. Okay, the term is derived from carrier cow. Okay, carrier cow. So that's a Caribbean word, and Audre Lorde is known as a cult figure in African American feminism. She is known as, sorry, as one of the leading writers of lesbian literature, and this novel is known as a very experimental novel, where it is a kind of autobiography. At the same time, it's a lesbian thriller, so it mixes biography, mythology, and history together. Okay, so which next question, which existential philosopher thought that man is potential, always in conflict with his neighbor, and all social relations are doomed to frustration? So the answer is none other than Jean-Paul Sartre. Yes, yes, guys, Jean-Paul Sartre is known for being and nothing, being and nothingness, and he is known as a writer who basically refused Nobel Prize politely. And Jean-Paul Sartre was also famous French philosopher of existentialism, sometimes called as the father of existentialism. He is known for writing classical existential works like Nausea, which is a very important novel in the development of existential theory. We know, guys, that most of the modern thinkers are influenced from two major theories. I always keep on repeating that. One is deconstruction, one is existentialism. And Jean-Paul Sartre was a huge influence on all the major, especially French philosophers and novelists, but also at the international level, all the modern and postmodern thinkers. Existential crisis, the word has come from this, you can say, writer only. And a man is condemned to live, a very famous line, Jean-Paul Sartre. A living partner of guide of Simone de Beauvoir, the lady who wrote Second Sex. One is not born woman, one becomes so. So he was the partner, living, you can say, partner uh, of Simone de Beauvoir. So very, very magnetic couple, internationally glamorous couple. Okay, moving on. Stanley Fish wrote the essay, "Is there a text in this class?" As a response to this, who wrote the essay, "Is there a fish in this text?" So, guys, the answer to this question is Robert Scholes. Yes, Robert Scholes actually is a very interesting writer. He is known as a writer who created the term called as fabulation. If you remember fabulation and metafiction, these are the terms. Where did we study these terms? We studied these terms in postmodernism. Now, these terms roughly in a very easy language, what does or what do these terms mean? It means basically a fiction which criticizes its own development. So you can say self-reflexive novel. So very interesting kind of development in novels. So Robert Scholes was the leader of that kind of movement. And if you look here, Stanley Fish, the question again comes from the reader response theory, and indirectly the question touches from both the theories together, postmodernism as well as reader response theory. Now moving on to the next, to the last question, the term new woman. It was coined by Sarah Grant. Yes, the answer is Sarah Grant. She was an Irish woman, and she coined the term in an 1894 article where she was seeking for the woman seeking radical changes. At that time, it was a late Victorian society, and women was still not out of her traditional kind of stereotyped images. And women writers were, you can say, at the same time were looking for, we know, the suffragette movement, which was related to the right of voting rights for women, right? So all these movements were gaining currency in Britain during that time, and keeping that thing in mind, Sarah Grant is considered as a very important writer in launching that kind of radical feminism in the late 19th century. And this term "new women" gained further currency when it was used by an English writer called as Oida, Ouida. Oida, she used the term as a follow-up article on the same writer. Okay, that is Sarah Grant's article was taken up by the same title as a follow-up article by Oyuda. Okay, so guys, this was all from me related to this short but meaningful presentation on Unit 9, which is literary criticism post World War II, literary theory rather post World War II. I hope you all liked this small presentation. Please do keep posting us with your invaluable comments, and also for net preparation, JRF preparation, pull up your socks, and you are welcome to join our course. And you can call us at 7217469297. You can call at this number and you can book your 1 or 2 demo classes, free live demo classes for Net English. And at the same time, I will continue guiding you all through this series of the papers. Till that time, thank you so much.